Hi, my name is Sarah, and my grandmother was a breast cancer survivor. So when I saw a commercial last week for KFC's new promotion, Buckets for the Cure, I was a little bit concerned. Now, KFC has pledged to donate 50 cents for every bucket of chicken sold during the promotional period to the Susan G. Komen Foundation to find a cure for breast cancer. And KFC will donate up to $8.5 million to the Komen Foundation, which amounts to 17 million buckets of chicken that they hope to sell. Now, on the surface, it obviously seems a little bit contradictory, eating a bucket of fried food in order to help find a cure for cancer. And in fact, obesity significantly increases a woman's risk of getting breast cancer. KFC's chicken and other menu items also contain other ingredients that are known to lead to cancer or contribute to cancer, such as MSG, sodium nitrates, and trans fats. Their menu items also contain high fructose corn syrup, which is associated with obesity and diabetes. So KFC is obviously not a health food, and enjoying one of these buckets will probably increase your own risk of getting breast cancer or other cancers. But it's more than just what's in KFC's chicken that's cause for concern about this relationship between KFC and the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So the Komen Foundation, their website has a lot of information about breast cancer for women, and quite a bit of it is aimed at women who are considered to be high risk for breast cancer. Now, common recommendations for these women are for them to do two things. One is to take risk reduction drugs, and two is to get more frequent mammograms and to start getting them earlier in life. Now, the risk reduction drugs include tamoxifen, which is made by AstraZeneca, and braloxifene, which is made by Eli Lilly. And both of these drugs will reduce a woman's risk of getting breast cancer. However, at the same time, they increase the risk of getting other cancers and other health problems. In tamoxifen's clinical trials, it was found that women who took the drug were more likely to get endometrial cancer, to have pulmonary embolisms, to have strokes, and were equally likely to die as women who did not take this drug. They were just less likely to have died from breast cancer. Braloxifene has fewer side effects, but it is associated with an increased risk in ovarian cancer. So to call these risk reduction drugs is a little bit of a misnomer. They reduce the risk of one cancer while simultaneously increasing the risk of others. Now, mammograms sounds like a good idea if you are more likely to get a disease that you'd want to get yourself checked out more frequently and sooner to try and catch it as soon as you can. Now, mammogram machines are made by General Electric, among other companies, but General Electric, it's worth noting, is a sponsor of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So the problem, though, with high-risk women getting more frequent mammograms is that researchers have found that when high-risk women are repeatedly exposed to low-dose radiation, like what's in a mammogram machine, that actually increases their risk of getting breast cancer. So women are getting mammograms sooner and more frequently, as early as age 25 is what's listed on the Komen Foundation's website, trying to catch this cancer early, while at the same time increasing the risk of them getting that cancer. So the recommendations for women who are at high risk for breast cancer are not that helpful, and in fact may be harmful, may contribute to their likelihood of getting breast cancer or getting other cancers or other health problems. Now, aside from Race for the Cure, the Susan G. Komen Foundation is probably best known for all the money that they pump into breast cancer research. And two of their research programs are in conjunction with the American Society of Clinical Oncology, that's the ASCO, and the American Association for Cancer Research, the AACR. And both of these organizations also receive funding from the pharmaceutical industry, including AstraZeneca, maker of tamoxifen, and Eli Lilly, maker of raloxifene, and also from General Electric, maker of mammogram machines, and other biotechnology companies. There is a wealth of research that exists that demonstrates when research is sponsored by, say, the pharmaceutical industry, when there's a research testing a drug, that sponsored research is the conclusions are going to be more likely, the results and conclusions will be more likely to be in favor of that drug than research that is independently funded. So it was not at all surprising to me when I found that ASCO researchers who were involved in tamoxifen trials, and that those trials showed a positive outcome for the drug. Both the ASCO and the AACR recommend high-risk women take either tamoxifen or raloxifene. And the ASCO recommends women get regular mammograms, though the AACR does not have a clear recommendation on this issue. But nonetheless, the pattern that we see here is that the medical industry is both directly and indirectly supporting research that promotes their business. And so I have here a diagram that shows where all this money is going from this Buckets for the Cure campaign. KFC donates what they plan on $8.5 million to Susan G. Komen. Now, Komen Foundation recommends that high-risk women give business to these companies, AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, and or General Electric. At the same time, they give research money to, or create grant programs with organizations like the ASCO and the AACR to try and find a cure for the cancer that's being caused up here and over here, as well as from other sources as well. These organizations receive additional funding from the pharmaceutical industry, including AstraZeneca and Eli Lilly, and then the biotechnology industry, including General Electric. Researchers from these organizations then produce research and recommendations that support the use of these products in particular, though probably products from these companies as well. So all these buckets are really not going for the cure to breast cancer. They're more so going towards the cause of breast cancer. We know what causes cancer, or at least in part. We know that food additives like MSG, like sodium nitrates, like trans fats, like obesity, or conditions like obesity, those increase the risk of breast cancer. We also know that drugs like tamoxifen and raloxifene cause breast cancer, or contribute to other cancers. We know that mammogram machines and other sorts of medical technologies raise the risk of getting breast and other cancers. So we know what's causing cancer. We don't need a cure for breast cancer as much as we need to prevent it in the first place. And the Susan G. Komen Foundation is right in the middle of this relationship between the research, between the pharmaceutical companies, and between the food industry that's causing cancer. So in effect, the Komen Foundation is actually in the center of promoting its own existence. So this is much more of a buckets for the cause of breast cancer than buckets for the cure. Now, my grandmother was a supporter of the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and she wore one of those little pink ribbons on her purse. And if she were alive today, I think that she would be extremely disappointed, to say the least, in this partnership between Komen and KFC, amongst other corporations as well. If you would like some more information on this topic, feel free to visit www.bucketsforthecause.com.